Monday, Motivation Monday. Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is your boy, Amir Sealy. My co-host Talent is on his way. So for a little bit, I'm going to talk to y'all, and we just going to do what we always do. Get everybody's week started on the right foot. Hoping everybody who's tuning in has had an absolutely phenomenal and wonderful weekend. Hoping that everything is going well in your lives and in the lives of the people who you know and love. And that's important. This Motivational Monday, what stuck out to me, just to quickly touch on my weekend, was a good weekend overall. The weather here in New York has been fluctuating, so we've been going everything from a heat wave to back to winter to spring. We don't know what we're dressing for on any given day here in New York. But the beauty of it is just that. The fact that the world is opening back up on a grander scale, and I hope that most of you guys are taking advantage of it. I hope most of you are also feeling safe and secure in your decision to get back out into the world, whether it be to go visit friends and family, to go visit our the beautiful parks in your neighborhoods, or whatever. Please take advantage of it. You got to get outside, get some of that sunlight, get your vitamin D. It's imperative to your immune system. It's imperative to your health. And most importantly, it's just imperative to keep your mind and to keep your psyche at a level that is necessary. And sometimes just simple things will allow you to do that. Now, again, like I said, I wanted to touch on a couple of different things. Hey, Alfredo, good evening. I just wanted to touch on a couple of things. First and foremost, I wanted to touch on my weekend. Hey, Talent, what's going on, King?
Peace, brother.
I was just bringing them up to speed. The weekend, like I said, was good. The weather was, pretty dope here. What stood out for me this weekend was yesterday, a very good friend of mine, somebody who you've seen me with her at various shows, especially when y'all do Salsa con Fuego, my friend Mary. She had a birthday party, her 50th/51st birthday party, because last year during the pandemic and, during all the crazy stuff that was going on, she actually had a real situation. She battled cancer, came out victorious, but she had to not celebrate her 50th, battle cancer, and go through that whole process. So yesterday she had this really nice birthday celebration, and I got a chance to go. And what really stood out to me about the celebration was the fact that so many of us have things that we've been battling in the dark or in the quiet. For some of us, not everybody, but for a good portion of us, we've been battling in the quiet, and that's great. But the reality of it all is, for a lot of you guys, it doesn't behoove you to only always keep that to yourself. And the reason why I say that is because you have no idea who you can inspire with your story. I know we think our stories are singular to ourselves, and they're only important to us. But a lot of times, the things that we're going through, especially when it comes to battling diseases, or even just battling everyday things like depression and other things that come up, your stories matter, because what happens is when you tell your story to somebody, a light goes on in somebody else to go, wow, I had something similar to that, or I had something close to that, and I didn't know that somebody was dealing with the same things I was dealing with. There was a young lady who actually showed up to her birthday celebration who went through all of the same exact procedures that she went through in the same time she did. So both of these young ladies beat cancer last year, going through the same procedure. But it was just so cool to see. And she was emotionally touched by everybody who was in the room, because, to her words, she said each and every one of these people inspired me in their own way, whether it was, in some cases, people telling me to tell my story, other cases, people just treating me normal, taking me to go play pool and, things like that, when they knew that, I was going through what I was going through. And, there was a lot of crying involved and a lot of moments of doubt. So I encourage each and every one of you guys out here to please remember that when you're, like I tell you all the time, sending out those text messages, when you're picking up that phone to call somebody just to check on them. Because for most of us, I know for myself personally, when I see certain names pop up on my phone, I'm excited. I can't wait to see what we're going to get into, what we're going to talk about, where the conversation is going to take us. And even if it's just to say, hey, I was just calling to check in and see if you're all right. Sometimes that's all is necessary. Every situation doesn't require a 30-minute, a 40-minute, an hour conversation. Some just require, hello, you all right? Family good? Y'all holding together? Good. Simple as that. But we got to get back to understanding that now that the world is open, y'all got to start getting back out here. Enjoy the world. Don't be so caught up in all of the, interesting information that's coming at you, obviously, on a constant basis, that it makes you afraid to enjoy this beautiful place we know as the world. That means travel. That means go see your friends and family. Driveway drink, as my co-host does, from time to time. Make up your own versions of things, where you can, bring together the people who you love. We got one shot at this, y'all. I say this all the time. We got one shot at this. And I know all of us on these various applications know of people who have passed on, myself included. And I have had the opportunity, and I'm speaking for me personally, where I've had the opportunity to hang out, whether it was my brother, see my dad, so forth and so on. But I know one thing: when I woke up, they wasn't here. So that tells me, you know what? I might need to hold on to this for a little bit longer. Why? Because at no point did they tell me, "Hey, come join me in this afterlife." I'm not, I'm not condoning anybody, taking life or anything like that. I'm just saying, y'all got to think about it and look at it for what it is. The reality of it all is you are in a wonderful place to do amazing things, not only for yourself, but for the friends and family and the people who you know and love. And it just starts with your imagination. It starts with every day being happy that you open these two beautiful things called your eyes, and it allows you to have another day to do some amazing things. So with that, I'm gonna defer over to my partner in crime. Salute, sir. How was your weekend? How's things going with you, King?
I would, I normally say fantastic, but I will still say fantastic because I always judge things by the end result. It's like being a Knicks fan for your whole life. They will stress you out through the course of the fourth quarter, third quarter, but long as we squeak out that victory, it was fantastic. We don't get the win. It was like, damn. But before I go into the weekend, I want to say that it's ironic that you brought up and shouted out with a friend that had to skip their 50th, which is a big year for, I think it's bigger for Black people because it's more than one meaning. I think for an average human being, to make half a century is a big landmark anyway. But to be a person of color, it adds doubles and triples to it because, for one, being Black, life is a lot tougher. So, you know, a lot of can happen in 50 years. So if you're a Black woman or whatever, or any person of color, that adds the double. The triple is for the Black male. Now, the Black male is not and was not my whole lifetime, even as an adolescent coming up. We wasn't really supposed to live past late teens, early 20s. So that's a triple bonus. When we hit 50, we shake our head and go, wow. So when you factor in the pandemic and the world shutting down and not being able to do what you're used to doing and celebrate with family and friends and stuff like that, it becomes the quadruple effect. So it's ironic you say that because the reason I'm coming in here a few minutes late today, I'm in Buffalo, checking on business, checking on my boy Quincy, my partner and everything. And while I'm here doing this, I take one of our business associates, shout out to my girl Monique, who worked with my company, Robin Hood Entertainment, for years. Ski trips. She did all the office work. I mean, she cut the deal. She put the ink to the paper on a lot of things that we did over the years. So she shares a birthday with Quincy. And I always forget it. So the fact that I forgot it and I'm here and I had 2 hours before we do the show, I was like, you know what? Lunch on me, and took her to lunch and we sat down and we're chopping up and everything. And, again, everybody, let me say this live on here so it's recorded because I keep telling people and they keep forgetting. Talent is the worst motherfucker to remember your birthday. Do not ever take it personal and go, man, you remember my birthday. Please, not with me. That is my, if you could pick one weakness, no matter how strong you are in all the other fields in life, my weakness, and I'm not too big to admit it, is that I've always had a problem. My memory with certain things are fucked up. Birthdays is at the top of the list. To show you how bad it is, Amir, my mom, God bless the dead, who's no longer with us, my whole entire life, there was not one year on my own that I remember my mother's birthday.
Wow.
My youngest sister, Tia would call me a week or two or the beginning of the month leading up to and go, don't forget, mommy birthday, blah, blah, blah. So let's do what the fuck you're going to do. And that was the only way. So to my mom, she had no clue. But to me and my siblings, they knew the deal. And that was a secret we took, and she, to her great, she know now because her spirit's probably looking at the show like, you son of a bitch. So, but that's just me. So never take that part personal. But birthdays are big monuments, and the
Yes.
older it gets, the bigger it gets. So missing her 50th, her being one of those people that couldn't really do it big like she would have did it. The lunch today was my thing, saying, "Listen, apologize that I don't remember birthdays, but all you've done over the years." She still works with us, but not in the greatest uh,
Capacity.
capacity that she used to. But she's still working. Matter of fact, people, when you look at some of my T-shirt designs, she's the one that puts that into motion because she's a graphic designer by trade. Some of the flyers of shows, she's done all that stuff. So, and and the funny thing about it is, I had forgot I owed the chick some money. So it wasn't until I paid fucking for lunch, fucking Cheesecake Factory. You know how that is. So I'm walking out of this shit, and I go, "Damn, I should have bought you one of the the Biggie shirt I got, the white one with my baby picture." So I'm like, "Damn, I should have bought that for you." She did the design, and I said, "Oh shit!" My first thing was like, "Oh shit, I owe you money because you did the design." But our relationship is so long and good that she never said, "Hey, send this or send a bill or whatever." She was like, "Yeah, it's cool." I said, "Yeah, but now I feel bad because had I known I was going to be taking you to lunch, I would have put your shirt in the bag, the Biggie one at least, because you did that, so you can have one." But I'm happy to say that I made up for that, so that was great. Now going back into so happy belated birthday, Monique Cunningham, Robert Entertainment forever. Sharonda knows the feeling because Sharonda worked with us forever and still works at the capacity she does. The week in the mirror. Let me tell you, this was a weekend that I believe was, see, God, things happen for a reason. And I think this weekend was aligned. It was bad on me physically, but I think it was meant to be that way so I could talk about it today to motivate other people. There will be obstacles in your way through your entire life. The obstacles may change, but the design of what they're there to do not. It's to stop you in your tracks. It's to stop progress. It's to stagnate. It's to depress. It's to stress. These obstacles don't go nowhere. They come in different forms, shapes, and sizes, but they're designed to do the same goddamn thing all the time. So I get up Friday. I go to the airport. I'm going to Jacksonville, North Carolina. It's a military town. It's a part of North Carolina. You got to take a plane to another plane to get there. You can't just go straight.
Okay.
So I get to, LaGuardia or whatever. All the flights, I'm booked on the flight. They're all oversold, so I end up going standby. They're so oversold, it don't look. When I pull up all the flights of the day, I'm not getting where I'm going. I'm not. So I end up getting creative. And I say, you know what? Let me pull up flights going somewhere that's not really where I'm going, but close enough that I can get to where I got to go in time. So long story short, I fly into a city, excuse me, that's about 3 hours from where I need to be. I Google while I'm sitting in the airport, Amir. This is how long I've been doing this. I know I do everything. So I Google, if I fly into this airport, how far is it from where I'm trying to go? And what the fuck is that going to cost in the Uber? Because I can't get there no other way. So 3 hour Uber, dude. I get there. I get there 7 shows at 8. I got enough time to wash my ass, throw a t-shirt or whatever, hat, put my merch in the bag, go to the place. I make it. Mission accomplished. Now, coming back out of this place, I got to get up 3:30 in the morning. So really, I had 2 hours of sleep. Get at 3:30, get to the airport at 4 for a 5 a.m. flight. Again, you got to go through a city to get to another plane to get to where you're going. I cut from there to Charlotte. That flight, I'm good. I get in Charlotte, I run into the same fucking issue. Where everybody's going, I have no fucking clue, right? But I'm like, holy shit. So now I get creative. Now the problem is going back, I don't have the same luxury flying to that neighboring city, because all the neighboring cities, now I'm going to Syracuse. So the neighboring cities, I could go into Albany, Rochester, or Buffalo. I can make it from any one of those. Syracuse being the fourth option. And I'm flying American, it ain't happening for me. So I'm sitting in this airport I got there on the 5 o'clock flight, so I'm there like 6:30. From 6:30 a.m., I pull up all the flights, it's fucked again. The Uber situation ain't even really an option at this point because I can't even get into the neighboring ones, right? So I got to change airlines, Google, go on my app. I got apps for every fucking thing. I go on my app, and now I have to buy a one-way. So now I'm bleeding money. I got to buy a one-way, but on a different airline. So I got to change terminals, fly from where I'm at to Dulles, D.C., and then come across. Long story short, same exact results. I landed 7, shows at 8. So now I don't even have, because that shows at 8 and it's different. It's one thing when I'm headlining the show than when I'm hosting the show. Mm-hmm. Host, you're going up in the beginning. Headliner, you got time to kill. So I had to go straight to the venue. Whatever I had on my travel clothes, that was going to be the clothes. Grace of God, it gets done. When I lay down that night about 1:30, 2 in the morning in my hotel bed, bro, the body's like bomb. Yeah, so I'm good. I'm done. Crash. I didn't even need the edible. The body was edible. But I think all this happened to set it up for the Monday, because when it's all said and done and you do make everything, no matter how much money you lost, what you didn't get or accumulate, you have to feel blessed that the end result was making show A, making show B, making show C, safe and sound by the grace of God, And if that don't fucking motivate you, I don't know what do. You know what I mean? So that's a motivating thing. Put that in effect with the fact that I really didn't want to leave home because, like, I might have mentioned, remember my female dog was having puppies.
Yes.
She dropped. So this is week 2. Thursday made week 2. But it wasn't a perfect, birthing of the puppies and everything was splendid. No, she was, I guess, puppies came out. Some came out stillborn. Some wasn't healthy, where the mother will do what they do and discard the baby, or whatever the case may be. So out of a litter of 10, you got 3 survivors, or whatever the case may be. Wow. So, but here's the thing. To me, the fact that she's nursing those 3 and she's accepting those 3 lives into the world is motivating in itself to me. You know what I mean? And the number one thing that I'm going to say today that's motivating to me is I'm close to the countdown now. 30 years in comedy, bro.
Yes.
July 30th is right around the corner. I'm feeling like, what's making me feel good? And people, to some Amir said, brings to mind right now. And you were like, hey, we go through our own thing, but you never know how what it is you're doing or what you may do affects people around you. So my mood is changing because I'm getting all these calls and reach outs from my fellow family and friends in the business that are like, yo, congrats, nigga, you coming up on 30, B. Yo, we love that. We checking for that. We coming to that, blah, blah, blah. And it's one thing for me to reach out because that's what I do when I'm marketing. But it's another thing when they're reaching you like, oh, I just put that on my calendar, fam. I'm motivated as a motherfucker, bro.
Yo, now to show you how big and small the world is, and this is why, again, like I said, you have to share information. So to get to my friend's, celebration, I had some other friends of mine drive me up there. I met them in Harlem. We drove up together, whatever. So when we was leaving, they drove me back to the city, and a cat jumped in the truck with us. He lived up in Parkchester, so he was like, "Yeah, we run you to Parkchester. We're gonna run him here back to Harlem. He'll make it back to Brooklyn, whatever." But we're in the car, and this cat brings up the end of July, and he said, "Yeah, I got this, that, the third happening." So I happened to bring up your 30th, 30 years in the game, and I said, "Yeah, well, Talon has this going on." He said, "Really? I didn't see anything about that." I said, "Well, I don't know where you're looking, brother." I said, "But you're having it all over IG." and all over, what you call it. And I think you know this gentleman. His name is Corey. So I think you know him. So he said, yo, that's around my birthday. So that would be perfect for the birthday celebration. This, that, the third. Then the two people was driving me. They said, man, you didn't tell us. I said, hey, y'all got to understand something. I don't talk about all the stuff that I do. Y'all just eventually see me at stuff and then be like, yo, man didn't say nothing. Hey, this is what he does. I mean, it's not, I'm not the walking billboard dude. I'm the dude who just shows up and I make things happen. That's what I do well. So now I put them all on and I sent them the flyers. So they was all like, so where you going? I said, I'm working on it. I mean, I don't want to hear you working. I said, why are y'all worried about what I'm doing? If y'all are going, this is who you contact. This is how you make sure you're good to go. Talent is family, so it is what it is. Whether if y'all see me, it's gonna be great. If you don't see me, just know this: it's still gonna be great because talent's not gonna hold it against me. He knows
Right.
how I feel about him. He knows we brothers. It's not that kind of situation. But I bring that up because, to your point, it is one of those things that people are really, the momentum is starting to grow, and people are excited about, and they're really looking forward to
Yeah.
this whole situation, as am I. And I'm telling folks, look, if y'all don't know, if you haven't been around to see the body of work that this man has put forth, and this is, again, speaking of motivation, then you living under a rock. This man's got 30 years in the game of doing nothing but rock solid, not only performances, but the projects that he's put together, ski trips, and the list
Yeah,
goes
man.
on and on. And he and I joke about it a lot because I tell y'all there was a lot of stuff that he and I got to do early on, especially early on in his career, when, again, we were trying to figure out so much of what life was about. See, the one thing about so many people is they're here now and y'all understand, y'all see the finished product. But I always tell people it's a whole different thing when you're a part of the actual mix. You're part of the flavoring. You're part of the actual batter. It's a whole different thing because you know what it took sometimes to sustain. You know what it took sometimes to maintain. You know what it took sometimes to build relationships and friendships. And talent can tell you, because like I said, when he first hit that LA scene, my brother was already out there and he was one of the people who truly embraced talent and was like, look, bro, come on out here. We got you. We were doing birthday parties out there that till this day still are untouched by even the people who live in LA. They still, yo, son, that joint y'all
Come on,
did at the ball.
yeah, ain't nobody doing it like that, bro. Ain't nobody doing it like that no more. That right there, and I'm glad that is gotten in the glass case, put up on the wall on the mantle as this classic era in time, and that was very motivating to me because I don't know what I would have did. I'll be honest with you. When I moved to LA and had to stay there for 5 years from '95 to 2000, I don't know what I would have done had I not connected with some like-minded folks, some positive folks that kept me motivated and on my path because I was. This is first of all, y'all saved me about 20 to 50,000 of us, and I'm gonna tell you why I say that. When I first got there, because I had been going back and forth to LA with comedy shit and working and auditions, all that, I knew that I didn't like, for the majority part, the vibe, the energy, the people, right? So what I did was, because of my holding deal was paying me a certain amount of money, I was able to buy tickets to come home almost every weekend. Only way I didn't come home a consecutive weekend is if the schedule didn't allow and I was doing something. But if it was an open weekend, I was coming home for 2 days. Every fucking weekend, because I had the money to do it. And more importantly to me, you couldn't tell me that I wasn't keeping my sanity right. And then here, you guys and Terry here and everybody saw fucking playing in LA and working it out. And I was like, and we linked. And then it changed my whole aura and being that, okay, now I can work here with a good frame of mind, because when I get off of work, I'm still in my New York frame of mind with my dudes, right? So that saved me. I started flying home less and less. You know what I'm saying? So that saved that part right there. One of the topics I want to hit on Motivation Monday today is importance of, and this has a lot to do with people's mental stability and what they want out of life. I believe that people have to make a conscious decision at some point what you care about more. Do you care about the result in the position of what you're in? Or do you care more about the titles of said position? I think that we get caught up a lot of the time. We want something in life, right? And let's say, and I'm gonna give the analogy of a job or where you work. Your whole time you've been working, because I've been through this as a young man running a warehouse. I've been through this. And when I got to a point when I knew in the warehouse I worked, I knew the most. There was nobody more knowledgeable than me than anything in that warehouse and how shit ran. And all I wanted to do was be respected as knowing that and let me run that shit. Now, here's the thing. At first, I didn't give a fuck about the title of warehouse manager. I just cared that the powers that be and the people that worked in that branch knew who the fuck I was and respected what I knew and treated me accordingly. Didn't care about the title, bro. The only time I gave a fuck about the title, fast forward a few years, was because I was real young when this was going on. And the powers that be in this corporation and company felt they needed an older dude to run the situation. And when they did that and started doing the interviews and bringing people in and out and blah, 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 and going through the motions of hiring them, here comes the title. The title was never there. All the time I've been there, all of a sudden in interviews, and I'm looking at the shit in the fucking classifieds and everything, warehouse manager. Now all of a sudden, I give a fuck about the title. They hired about 2-3 dudes. Now, in my course of being there, everybody failed. They couldn't do it. Something was wrong with them. They just couldn't hack it out or whatever. Kept delegating back to me running shit. So because you gave these 3 dudes a title and a different salary, now I wanted it because of that reason alone. But before that happened, I was content with knowing my situation, knowing my worth, being treated as accordingly, and I was good with that. But when you apply that to life and other things in life, people, are you a person that's caught up in the title, or do you want what you want? Like in a situation of, if I'm going to be with a significant other for the rest of my life, Amir, I'm not caught up in the M word. I don't have to have the ring. I don't have to have the marriage. If I know in my heart of hearts that me and this person have a love for each other and we're good and we're going to be there for each other, I'm good. But when I find that, most people are not.
Yo, I don't know if you just are on the same wavelength or whatever the case may be, but when I tell you that this is the perfect topic today, because to your exact point, I told y'all I made 30 years in my company last year, and this speaks to everything that you just said. So you told your story, I'm gonna tell mine. So I told you I made 30 years for the company I worked for last year. I'm not gonna say their name because I don't want there to be any drama, but I will say this. For the last 20, I have been at the title of supervisor. So this year, they did a Zoom call, and on the Zoom call, they announced everybody. They did 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, and we even had somebody who's been working for the company for 40 years. So they go through everybody, they read everybody's name, say like, we got Talon Harris. He started in as a coordinator. He's now, assistant manager, blah, 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 blah. Gave his years. He's in the 15 year. Do you know when they got to me? And like I said, I've been there 30 years. For the last 20, I have been supervisor. So to your point about titles and trying to figure out what you want and the money and all that, that is something that I'm struggling with big time. So you bringing that up today, I was like, I almost had to look around. Like, Talon been looking around in my head like, wait a minute. But, to your exact point, it is rubbing me the wrong way because I listened to some of the other people who were on the panel, and some of them had, like I said, only been there 15 years. Obviously, I've doubled them, and they had stuff like she came in as a administrative assistant. She's now manager, assistant manager. This. I'm like, hold up. I've been here 30 years. Y'all have had me as supervisor for 30 damn years. Look, we don't always do what we're supposed to do when it comes to titles and when it comes to money and all that stuff, because in all fairness, the community that we come from and the mind frame and the mindset we come from, a lot of it is about respect, and it's about having knowledge of the job and understanding and knowing what it is you know how to do extremely well. I always say this: our generation falls in a precarious situation because we happen to be one of the last few generations that come from the work hard ideology, meaning
Right.
show up to work every day, I bust my behind. I know I did a good job. I feel good about it. I'm good. The way that the new world works is this whole every 30 seconds, I'm looking to be patted on the back, and somebody's supposed to be giving me a new title and some more money. That's just the way that it works now. That's not any knock to anybody. That is what it is. But the real interesting thing about it is for those of us who are from the old guard, it's a bit of a sore because you keep saying to yourself, some of this stuff I built. I don't think I built
Mm,
it. I know I built it. And the
yep.
fact that you would allow somebody else to come in here and tell me we need to tweak it this way and tweak it that way, where was they at when we were shooting in the gym, as a rap record says, or a very older rap record says, you wasn't with us when we was riding the bus. Yo, there's some of us who are walking around in various, stages of our lives and various moments of our lives, and that's the crossroads that we're all at. Why? Because we're 50 something. And I know for me, and I say this humbly, I love the fact that, to Talent's point, I've gotten to 52 years old. I'm thankful. I'm mindful. I got two beautiful daughters. I have two beautiful grandchildren. I have a ton of friends and family who seemingly love me and who I love. So I'm good with all of that. But this continuing to work hard for less pay, for the lack of respect, for the lack of understanding, it sucks. It really
Right.
sucks. And there are a
Right.
ton of us who find ourselves in this position, and we go to work every day and we work our behinds off still because that's who we are at the core of who we are. But to Talent's point, is it really healthy and is it good? Because that's really why we're having the issues that we're having at work and at home. Because you really want to go in there and possibly tell your boss, tell your company, are y'all fucking serious? Y'all can't be serious. You can't treat people like this every day, because then you have the people on your job who you know are lazy, who just because they're connected to whoever they're connected to, they get all of the props and accolades, and you're sitting around going, wait a minute, this person doesn't do a third of the things that I do on a regular basis. They don't even have the heart and the gumption to do what I do. And given the opportunity, like Talent said, to actually run the show, the place would absolutely fall apart. So you just wonder about that.
So now
But I
ask yourself this.
Mhm.
Ask yourself this, because that's a very valid angle. That's one angle is valid as fuck. But ask yourself this now. And what I'm saying is this: if you, let's say, we're on the job analogy. Let's say the boss job. I don't know. Let's call it branch manager. The branch manager job and salary 85,000 a year, right? You've been there a certain amount of years. You kind of feeling like, yo, I've been here a long time, and I should be the branch manager. Blah blah blah. If the job comes to you and say, hey man, you're up for a raise, we appreciate you, you're number one employee in the motherfucker, man. You're running things. They ain't mentioning the title at all. Time for you to get a raise. And your raise is $85,000. You're up to 85,000. What is more imperative and important to you? Is it imperative to be rewarded and compensated accordingly? Or is it imperative, important mostly, to be recognized with that title?
Now, you know what's so funny, and I'm glad that you actually worded the situation that way, because to the point that I was making about what I'm struggling with. So, in my heart of all hearts, I think that the important thing is to pay people first and foremost what you owe them. I don't give a damn what it is. I said this to my boss, and I said this to a few other people at my job, and they felt some kind of way because they're like, Amir speaks his mind. I do. I say this humbly. Sometimes you have people who are just absolutely phenomenal at what they do. But you know what is so great about having people who are phenomenal about what they do? The people who are above them don't have to worry about that particular thing. So while you have ascended up or, continued to climb the ladder, you're great because you have people in place who are absolutely phenomenal at what they do, and you should absolutely reward them too. You can't keep climbing and not take care of the people who are your foundation, who allow you to ascend. That is a horrible, horrible thing to do to me. Now, in the real world, based off of what I see, and especially in corporate America, that seems to be the energy and the language. Because people have come to me and they said, well, things like, Amir, well, what have you done lately? And I always say this, who cares what I've done lately? I stay here every day and keep my finger in this hole in the dike so that you idiots up at the top don't drown. Because if I took my hole out of this finger in the dike, everything would fall into the water and we'd all fucking drown. But y'all can't see that. And sometimes you say stuff that just hits me at the core, and I turn it to somebody different. For those of y'all who didn't watch our show today, I just got to digress for a minute. Y'all don't watch our show, so today on our sports show, Rodney, I don't know if you remember, Rodney said this. Rodney was like, "I like Thug Amir." Talent, I almost lost it. I was in the house crying. But what it is when I'm passionate about things, I'm passionate. And one of the things that I'm passionate about is taking care of the people who make sure you are good. And then there's this part. And I want people to hear me when I say this, because to Talent's point about a title, sometimes branch manager comes with having to be on Zoom meetings and all this. Everybody's not cut out for that. That's just a fact. Some people aren't cut out for specific things, meaning I'm going to get on the Zoom call. I'll be the guy who starts falling asleep. Why? Because y'all are boring me to death. I'm an ideas and I'm a, bring me the problem. I'm a get it done kind of guy. I don't want to sit on Zoom calls and look at everybody and go, I don't want to do that. That's just going to get on my damn nerves. But to that point, this goes to what Talent and I talk about and why sports to me is so important. You got to know your team members. And what we have to do is promote team members into positions that allow them to do what they're great at. Stop trying to make people who are great at a specific thing great at other things. That's not their lane. They know it. You know it. I get that we always want to see people expand, and that sounds great. But you know what the great thing about people expanding is when they want to expand. That's when it's a great deal, not when you always want them to expand, because sometimes that's not what people are about. It's just like success. Some people's success is having all the money in the world and having everybody know you. And for some people, success is just being, pretty okay, having a situation where you feel calm, you feel at ease. There's nothing wrong with the two extremes. It just depends on what works for you. And we have to do a better job of understanding that and then applying it where necessary. I get so frustrated. Go ahead.
No, not to cut you off, but now there's two things I want to say to that. It's one thing that somebody said to me when I posed the same question to them. They had a good point, a valid point. And then I want to give you an analogy. The valid point was, I said the same exact thing, 85,000, blah, blah, blah. Why does the title mean, blah, blah, blah. And the person had a valid point. They said, T, here's the thing. Yeah, the money is an incentive to rise. They said, but the longevity and bigger picture supersedes the amount. They said, because the title is that thing in the future. God forbid I'm not at this job the rest of my life. That title is the thing I can take forward and get another job. The money is not what gets me the next job. It's the title on paper that I held this position. So, for example, I never got the title and position, but I got the pay. So I quit or I get fired. Fast forward, I'm looking for another job. It's not going to help me get another job saying I made 85,000. That's not the thing I can write down on paper that gets me the next 85, 90,000. But if I can show, like you said, you've been at your job 30 years. I was this position at this corporation. That's the thing on paper that's going to look good to land me that interview, maybe that second interview, and eventually the job. So I don't want people to be remiss that I'm missing that point. That point was made to me. I asked that question to somebody else. The rebuttal and the answer was that, which made all the sense in the world. Now, to Amir's point, to go back to when you said the people that sit higher up, that have these people delegated down the pole, that make them look great because they're going to get their bonuses and position raise and all that. And it's on the backs of these guys that are a little lower, but doing an excellent fucking expedient job, above recognition and compare. So when he says that people need to take care of people who they know are responsible for said job, it brought back into my brain. I always immediately go to sports analogy, right? And I go to the Dallas Cowboys when Emmitt Smith was playing. Two running backs come to mind in my lifetime: Emmitt Smith and Barry Sanders. The one thing these guys had in common, and it was more relevant and prevalent in the Dallas Cowboys situation a little more than Detroit Lions with Barry Sanders, because they were winning titles, right? So Emmitt Smith, for you ladies out here who may not be sports savvy or football savvy, he's what we call a running back. If you look at the football teams, when the team that has the ball are set up in motion with 11 players on the field, there's a quarterback. Everybody knows where the quarterback is. He's the middle behind the center, and that center is the center of what we call the line. It's a line of men, 4, 5, 6. It varies, but it's a line of men whose sole job and purpose is to keep the people that's trying to come this way from getting back here so that they can progress forward, blocking and blocking and blocking. Emmitt Smith was a running back, and he realized, I'm putting up all these numbers, I'm breaking records, I'm winning all these games, I'm getting Super Bowl victories and everything, but he recognized the hard workers of the linemen who were busting their ass blocking so he can get through there and get those touchdowns and those victories. And every year, he would make bonuses over how far they go. Amir knows this about sports. They give these players incentives so that the more you win, the more you got your contract pay, but I'm gonna give you bonuses. The more you do, the more you win. And as he got those bonuses and as they got those Super Bowls and those playoff victories and all that, he would reward, on top of those bonuses the team gave them, him as the running back who was getting the accolades, would reward the linemen with Rolex watches, Bentleys and big, beautiful cars and houses and stuff like that, because he was the superstar on the team. They had 3 superstars on that Dallas team: Michael Irvin, who was a wide receiver, Troy Aikman, who was the quarterback, and Emmitt Smith, who was the running back. And he was the one dude, same thing Barry Sanders did in Detroit, who would turn around and reward these linemen, who was pretty much most of them making, I guess, basic
minimum wage,
professional money. You know, they were making $1 million, but not at the level they were. So he would make it a point to take money and gifts and everything. And that's, to your point, Amir, exactly what you're saying of, you're getting what you're getting by the hard work of others.
Yes.
And make no mistake about it, he would take care of these guys. That reminds me of that.
And again, it's funny. First of all, an excellent point about the titles and why titles are important. I think that, the real interesting, caveat to that is, again, for so many of us, when we grew up in an environment, or in environments sometimes, that excellence is not always a given. It's a given to us, but it's not always a given on a grander scale. Like, for instance, right now is graduation season. So we see all these wonderful, beautiful posts, whether you're on the various platforms of children graduating and, caps and gowns and all that beautiful stuff. And I have been absolutely tickled pink to see all of my friends and family whose kids are graduating and moving on. But I'm going to tell you where my mind is. Where are all of the posts for the kids who didn't do it? Because those are the kids that really need our help right now. The kids that did it, look, that was kind of expected. We knew y'all were going to pull through. We're the suspect kids that did. Where's the kids that's going to have to repeat homeschooling come next year? Well, school is going to open back up, but you're going to have to repeat the 5th grade, or you're going to have to repeat high school, and you've been home, and we're trying to figure out, how did you fail homeschooling? Like, there's a lot, or something to be said for failing, when you're playing, or when you're going to a school live and this and that and the third, but you're home. This was an opportunity for you to sit, get up, get your assignments, get on your computer, do what you need to do, get off the computer, and handle your business. So for me, it kind of works out to be one of those kind of classic things in my mind, that what are we doing to help those kids? Because those are the kids that right now need our cheering. They need all of the, accolades and props that they can, possibly handle. And they need reassurance, because when you go into next year after having been out of school for almost 2 years and realize that you're almost in the same grade, or you are in the same grade, that's going to feel weird for those kids. So I hope that we're doing just as good a job of reassuring those children that they do matter, that they are wonderful, that they are proficient and efficient, and ensuring that they have what they need to go into next year prepared to do what they need to do. With that having been said, getting back to the whole ideology about, work. In just my experience, I've been, like I said, working for this company for 30 years. So if y'all do the math, I told y'all I'm 52. So that means, I started working in the company when I was about 22 years old. And I always smile about this because, to Talent's point, if, for some reason I had to do a resume, I got maybe two, maybe three jobs that I could actually put down on my resume, one of them including, this particular job that I've been at. So I don't know. I think, again, that's one of those interesting quandaries that we, find ourselves in, because in all fairness, when you're great at, whatever it is you do, and it doesn't make a difference what it is, you're great. You just are who you are. You know that you're, fantastic. The problem that I think, or the question that, we really have to ask ourselves is, why is the world so weird at trying to either minimize people's greatness for what it is they're already great at, or why is it such a big ideal that we overcompensate or possibly over exaggerate for people's, greatness one way or the other? And that's one of those, 50-50 balls that kind of go up in the air, because in my experience, you can't, on paper, regardless to what titles say, regardless to what, you can't equate for work ethic. You can't equate for heart. You can't equate for personability. You can't equate for things that really make a difference when you look at the bottom line. And the bottom line is, effectively and efficiently, when given a problem or given a circumstance or a situation, can you figure out a way to get it done and then get said situation done? That's the bottom line. We all go into and come into this life, and especially on Motivational Monday and the rest of the week and the rest of our lives, we're being motivated every day to tackle problems, be they big or small, and give our absolute best to ensure and to make sure that we get things done. That is imperative. That's something that we work on all the time. That's something that we really look at every day, all day. So I keep, saying to people, we have to really work hard at that. We really have to understand that that's a big part of what we're up against. You have to take that into consideration all day, every day. There's no days off. When you were in school, I know for me personally, I remember being in school and, I would always smile because kids of other ethnicities, had the jump on us. Sometimes it was the Indian kids. Sometimes it was the Asian kids. They call out the math scores. Ping Lu, 96. Rashwan, whatever, 97. Get to, Mike Jones, 76. You'll be happy that you got to 76, but you know damn well it wasn't in the 90s. You'd be like, look, but to that point, this is a
real
running
shit,
joke.
though.
This
But
a
that's
running
some real
joke.
shit. When you said the part about the shit that don't show up on the stats, immediately I go back again. It like shit just jars thing in memory. I immediately go back to the 90s Knicks and why guys like the Anthony Masons, the Charles Oakleys, the John Stocks, they would do this extra shit during these intense ass games in the playoffs, that those little things that don't show up in the stat book. There is no column in the stat book that say this nigga dove in the bleachers 7 times last week. There's no record of that. But the guy, the person that's watching the game that want to win, we're keeping a mental stat of, Charles Oakley, he dove over the dude, broke the nigga neck. He saved the ball. It became 2 points. We won the 3 seconds. So it's like that in real life, people. I think the synopsis of where we're going with this part here is we have to learn to appreciate each other, work together, and recognize and pay attention to those little intangibles that makes the fucking whole thing work.
Yes.
And I do that every fucking week in, week out at comedy shows, bro. I book people and I put them in certain spots, and I do it because I play it out in my head, and I know what's best for the overall picture, the overall show. And 9 times out of 10, I can almost guarantee you, it's not where the comic prefers to go. But I can't worry about individualism in a group effort. It's a show. It's a 2-hour show that entails 4 comedians. So collectively, it's my job, if I'm the showrunner, to put us all in the best light. That as all said and done, everybody's like, that was a great show. It was just like Saturday night. I'm in Syracuse. The biggest guy on the bill is John Hinton. He's a big, well-known TV star from the Hewleys, from Living Single. He's the biggest star. But I got Smokey. I got A.G. White, too. And I'm in New York. So in my mind, I'm like, yeah, he's the bigger star, but I got some fucking New York firepower in this bitch, too. So I'm going to put him in the best light to shine, which is the middle of the show. The people are going to be super happy. They know who they came to see, all these guys. So they're going to be super happy that they seen him anyway. But the energy was multiplied by 100,000 when he hit the stage in the middle of the show. And these next 2 guys are so strong. They're New York strong. I know what I got. And they've been in this business long enough to go up there and knock it out the park. You know what I mean? There's guys who, you may not know going to knock out the park, but because of my experience of working with them, I know they're going to knock it out the park. And that's all I need. It's enough for me. And sure enough, that show was a phenom. It was a phenom of a show. And then, John wasn't with us the next day, and we did it without John with, a couple other different comedians, but another great show. And then after that show that night, we sat in my room, Smokey, AJ, and myself, and talked for 2 hours about what we're talking about right now. How the mind works and why we do this and why people do that, and the bad promoters, the good promoters, and business. And we just kicked it for 2 hours, which, as much as we see each other, we haven't done that shit in years.
And that, again, all of these things, like Talent said, they add up. As I always say, it's like putting together a puzzle. The beauty of putting together a puzzle is, again, you got all these smaller pictures that when you step back is one big picture. And the person who puts it all together, good, bad, indifferent. And that's why I said it is imperative to know that if you hold up your part of the picture, whatever that part may be, it could be a big piece, it could be a small piece, doesn't make a difference. But if you hold up your piece, if you do what you can to ensure and make sure that your part is done, then that's all you can worry about. Because once you step away, I gave it my all. I did what I was supposed to do. You cheer and you hope that everybody else will also bring that same energy and bring that same funk to the situation. So that way, everybody, like you said, it's an enjoyable experience for everybody. But the reality of it all is you can't really call that, because as individuals, it's up to us to find that motivation. It's up to us to find that thing that turns that light on in us. Like, okay, it's showtime. Let's go. You know what I mean? And that is really what Motivational Monday is about, is every week finding that one thing or a few things that turn that light on in you and allow you to go, okay, it's showtime. I'm ready. Let's go. It does make a difference. Like I said, if it's a small challenge, if it's a big challenge, as long as you step up and you give it your all, that's all anybody could ask of you. And that's all you should really ask of yourself. So many of us are faltering because, we shrink, quote unquote, depending on the situation. I'm a shrink in this situation. For what? For who? It ain't as I always tell people, when I watch sports and I see teams get blown out, I don't be mad. I'd be like, you didn't bring your A game. That's on you. You didn't bring your A game.
I'm a firm believer in, I don't really care and it may be bad, it may be, I don't know, but it works for me and my focus and my direction. I don't get caught up in titles. The reason I brought up that topic today about titles is I think titles are overrated. And I get, like I said, the person had a world of validity in saying, T, on paper, I need more. And the validity was there. But for what I do in life and the different type of job I have in the realm of entertainment, what I accomplish is kind of similar. You know what I mean? So if I did 3 movies over here, I put that on a resume. If I opened for 3 icons over here, I put that on a resume. If I went to Guam and Italy and blah, blah, I put that on a resume. Those are the things that speak for me. From my life experience, I think that I'm a man on principle, fundamental. You know what I mean? The fundamentals and principles of life, meaning that I don't care who you are, what you have, and what you've done. If you're good for me, you're good for me. And I hang you to that. And I hold you and I judge you and grade you on that. I don't grade you on, I can't afford to sit back and grade people on titles and labels and accusations and shit that people give to them. Because women do it all the time. You know, women will hold you to a title. Take something like a relationship, for instance. You may have this guy and you've been dealing with this guy and you're supposed to be boyfriend and girlfriend or whatever the case may be. And you know this guy, he's not faithful to you. You know, you probably care more about him than he care about you. You know, to him, he's not monogamous, whatever the case may be. But a woman will be still set headstrong on getting him to commit because she believes if I get that commitment, whatever that title is, boyfriend, fiance, husband, whatever that title may end up being, it don't matter because you may change the title and still have the same guy.
Yeah.
That's why I brought it up. It's like, I don't, and I want that in every life. I didn't bring it up to just be in work. I didn't bring it up to just be in relationship. I brought it to be in your whole life. Pay attention to what's really going on and not the said title. You understand what I'm saying? Because sometimes we get very distracted and we lose focus and we get so focused on the fucking title that we're not really paying attention or shining a high beam on what's actually going on in that situation. You understand what I'm saying? It's like me. I call a spade a spade. When I'm out, I'm always traveling. So 9 times out of 10, I got to go on my Hotwire app or my Kayak app or whatever my apps are, my traveling apps to book a room, you know, to this city, that city, whatever. When I book the room, I'm going off of what's in the app. It's a 4-star hotel. These are the amenities. They got blah, 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 blah. If I fucking get to that hotel and it's not what it says in the app, but I paid for it, I'm calling them out on it. I got to call it out. Why? Because your title said this. I got here and it was this. I had that shit happen one time in fucking LA. Aldo, he was with me, right? It's like years ago. And we go there and I'm like, we're going to be in town for 4 days or whatever. So we go to town for 4 days and I'm like, don't even worry about it, man. I'm going to go on the app. I'm going to find some shit in Hollywood or West Hollywood. So we right there close to go to the comedy clubs, whatever. And I find some shit on Sunset Boulevard. It's like, yo, the rate is crazy. We only paying $70 a night, 4 nights, come to 3 total. I said, yo, we good money, yo. We on the boulevard. It's 3-star. It got blah, blah, blah. Nigga, when that taxi from the airport pulled it in, first of all, we in the back of the cab talking, and the motherfucker slowing down, and we looking at all these motels and hotels and motels. And I'm looking, I'm like, you know, that shit's fucked up over there. As soon as I'm thinking, I ain't say it out loud. I'm thinking, that one right there is fucked up. The motherfucker pull in there. I said, yo, this can't be the motherfucker can't do that. There you go, get out, thank you. Boom, backed up. He going to the next fare. And I'm like, and I can't even look at Alpha because I know that I can feel the heat. And this motherfucker looking at me like, what the fuck, right? So I'm like, I go inside. I go right to the guy at the front, like, yo, what the fuck is good? I got this off of here. Look at all the shit that say, look, this ain't that place. And the dude, to his credit, I mean, This motherfucker didn't try to battle or stick up for it or defend it. The motherfucker kept it 100. He said, yo, bro. He said, we keep telling these motherfuckers to take it off the app. This is not 3 stars. This is a 1.5 star bet because it's a motel, right?
Mm.
Now, don't get me wrong. I don't want nobody to get the idea. I could thug it out with the best of them and some shit. I've done it. I will always continue to do it because it's more important. What I'm doing is more important than where I'm at. But this shit it's certain things where you got to draw the line.
Yeah. Yes.
So I'm in there, right? And the funny shit is, the dude is talking to me and he's like doing the thing. So I'm like, I guess we're gonna thug it out, right? This is where I'm at in my mind. And the guy's filling out the paperwork, boom, boom, boom. He goes, he says some shit, telling what shit is at. And he goes, on the ice machine, boom. When he does that, and it's a place where I gotta go outside of a building. That's where I draw the line, son. You feel me?
Yeah.
So I'm already drawing the line in my brain, and then he goes, "There you go," and but in my brain, I'm like, "Yo, we're going because it's late. We ain't doing shit tonight." I said, "We're gonna thug this night out. We're gonna get on the phone with Hotwire. We're gonna get a refund. We'll find a better hotel. Next 3 days gonna be good." And the motherfucker slides the thing up with the sign and get the key, and I just say naturally because it's me and Aldo, I go, "So it's a double bed, right?" He goes, "Nah, it's one bed. We don't have no more double beds." So now this is a deal breaker.
Yeah, sir.
I look at this dude right in his eyes. I say, "Hey, my man, this nigga ain't my type."
Yo,
I know this is Hollywood. I know y'all a little crazy out here. I'm from New York. I need 2 beds. He said, we don't have 2 beds, blah, blah, blah. We sold out. So I said, okay. So now I go in the corner. I'm on the line with Hotwire. They're hitting me with the no refund, whatever. Okay, cool. Can't stay here. So I go and I book a whole other room, another part of town. Now we're happy. It's very nice and decent and good. The area is nice, eateries and all that. So we're good. So this is how karma works. That's why you always got to stay motivated because karma is always working. It's a 24/7 bank. The bank of karma never closes. So Hotwire is like, we don't refund, blah, blah. I'm pissed because this is like 360, 370 wasted, right? And I don't care about money until it's wasted. That's some funny shit. I don't care if something costs me $1,000. But what I do care about is if I waste $1,000.
Gotcha.
So I was like, all right, cool, whatever, right? Why the next day, the weirdest shit happens. I get an email from a random ass company to fill out a survey. I said, oh, this is random, right? I trash fucking Hotwire, the situation. I put the whole just all the shit I'm talking to you, I put in this long ass type that shit and sent it in. When my plane landed that Monday, dude, and I seen a refund for the money for the hotel back. We so sorry, but you guys knew this because I told you guys this direct. But this place is like like a Yelp thing. People pay attention because these things are very important. We laugh at white people when they fill out the surveys and call in and trash these motherfuckers. But a company nowadays, because this virtual reality we live in, your opinion and your review is golden now. It's money now. The long story short, they refunded the fucking shit for you. And we had a good time, whatever the case may be. But, stay motivated, man. Motivate, get what you pay for, pay what you get. And again, I don't mind spending money. I just don't like wasted shit. I'm the same way with food.
Yes. I absolutely agree with you, King. And, again, to just, sum up what Talon said, bullet points here. Understand that not only does, what you do matter in the grand scheme of things, but it should matter to you first and foremost. Secondly, as I stated earlier, stay motivated to check in, check on, see what's up, say hello, do whatever you need to do to make sure the people in your circle and in your world are doing the best that they can possibly do. Know that you matter. Your stories matter, whether sharing it with 1 or 500 or nobody. No, don't not share with anybody, but share your stories because, as I said, your stories your stories help motivate others, and the one of the greatest things that you can do, quiet as it's kept, is motivate others through your actions. We don't understand how powerful enough that really is, and sometimes you may or may not even know that that's what's happening until somebody else, comes back to you and says, hey, such told me that, you did A, B, C, and D, and that motivated them, which, then in turn motivated me. So, you just don't know how powerful that whole energy can be. And then, again, like I always say, I tell y'all this, I can't stress this enough. Again, it is nice to be important, but please, y'all, it's so much more important to be nice. So just do what you can to make this world a better place day in and day out. Continue to evolve as a human being, and the rest will take care of itself. That's why we
Boom.
here every Monday doing what we do, because we're hoping that our words, the stories that we share, help to motivate you and help to make your world continue to go forward as best it can. So I'm always humbled and thankful. I love you guys. I thank y'all again for tuning in every week. Y'all have no idea. And let's continue to tell a friend to tell a friend. Let's get a whole bunch of us on here, because the more we motivate each other, who gonna stop us? And how they gonna stop us? Let's think about that. You know what I mean? T, love you, King.
Peace,
Always
King.
do what we do.
Thank
And
you, everybody, for tuning in. You have a blessed week, everybody. Stay motivated. Stay on top of your game. We love you, and ain't nothing you can do about it.
facts.